What's up? Ken from Palm Beach Dyno. Right behind me is a 2020 GT500 with just a little bit of damage. I bought it from Copart and we're gonna do all kinds of cool things with it. Check out some video of it at Copart getting loaded up on the trailer. What's up, brother?
What's up, brother?
Thanks.
No worries.
It's got a flat tire. How bad is it?
You're in luck. It's fucking bad. If you look underneath and everything.
Dude, the belt is still on it.
It sheared the trans cross member completely off. The trans is okay, and it's still got the crank pulley on it too, so everything's fine.
It didn't even get in the supercharger,
Nope.
probably.
It's cherry.
Okay, since then we did just do a quick wash up on it. This looks like possibly a case of a stolen vehicle. Whoa, look at that. Pretty crazy. Now, you might look at it real quick and just think, oh, only front end damage. And that's what I said when I bought it. But, you know, I didn't really expect to buy this, so I didn't really look too deeply into it. So I'm going to sit down in a little bit and we'll go over the numbers, what I paid for this, how Copart works, and all those sorts of things. But let's go over the car real quick. As you can see, had a little front end damage. If you look down in there though, it didn't even hit the crank pulley. I'm not sure you can see it right now, but we already looked at it a little bit, and I think the engine's gonna be fine. Now, one thing that I wasn't aware of, but as you can probably tell by how low the car is this car saw more than front end damage. I think it possibly was airborne because both rear shock mounts or upper shock mounts are broken, both of them. The transmission cross member is broken, and the transmission pan unfortunately has some damage, and we'll show you that when we get it all apart. Let's look inside it real quick. The good news is the seats are in perfect shape. Looked at them very closely. That's great. We're gonna sell those. Those will be coming up for sale very soon. I believe the back seats are in good shape too. I don't know if I'm going to sell the instrument cluster. We'll go over the plans for what I'm going to do with this car also when I sit down, and we'll go over all that in just a little bit. You know, there's a little bit of damage here. Possibly hit their head. Only the airbag for the driver went off, so probably was in the car solo. Door panels look okay. The roof looks okay. We got underneath it a little bit because we had to get it off the trailer. Unfortunately, we did not videotape that. That would have been some good content though. It was pretty comical. All right, I just got back from picking up the new RV, and Doug has gotten a lot of work done to get ready to pull the engine. Looks like the engine did get hit a little bit, but not too bad. The water pump for the intercooler system got into the crank pulley, but it really just destroyed the intercooler pump. Looks like there's really no other damage to the front of the engine. Obviously, the water neck there is a little messed up, but I think we're gonna be okay. Anything else you noticed, Doug, while it was apart?
Not really, just being that it's wrecked. But next step, pull the engine out. Probably lift the whole car up around the engine with the forklift, so that should be pretty cool.
Yeah, we just got our new forklift, which is gonna come in perfect for this sort of stuff. Anyway, that's about it for this update. So next up is going to be pulling out the engine, and then we're going to move on to the interior and start stripping out. see there's stuff everywhere. It's like a bomb went off, GT500 bomb. The engine is already sold. Our boy Rob Little, that you've seen on the channel recently, which is 10-speed Gen 3 VMP power deal, is putting this in. You know what it's going in?
Oh, the free coat.
You sure? Okay, awesome. I wasn't sure if he was doing this or his Fox body. So he's doing this deal. We sold him the whole complete deal. It's mostly in good shape. There's a couple little things messed up on it. The water neck, the crank pulley got into a little bit, but other than that, everything looks good. So we got a special deal worked out with Rob. Instead of trying to get it running here, if it doesn't run right, when he puts it in, we'll work something out. Over there, you've got the front end. This thing suffered quite a bit of damage, obviously. That's where it got hit. But
Broke the motor mount, we're off the mount.
yeah,
Sheesh.
motor mounts broke, that one. The trans cross member was broke. It looks like the struts are in decent shape. I might keep those as spare. The brakes look like they might be okay. Other than that, there's not a whole lot there. Even the steering rack got some damage. So, as far as the car itself, let's just say I'm really happy we weren't planning on rebuilding this as a car, although it's very possible to do, I'm sure. There's a lot of damage. You know, we bought this car without seeing it. Which the main reason we bought it is over there, I'll show you in a minute, but you know, at first glance, it looks like, you know, just this got tweaked back, but there's creases here, there's a little damage in the firewall. In fact, the back of the car looks like it may have went airborne. Both upper shock mounts are broken. There's the, I mean, you can get like a, hey, that Cobra looks good, maybe we can auction that off. That actually doesn't.
Yeah, it's broken.
Oh, it's a little smashed. This right here is the real reason that we bought the whole entire car. This is a spare 7-speed Tremec DCT transmission. These are very expensive to buy from Ford, and on top of that, you can't even buy the clutch. The clutch is a non-serviceable item. So if you need a clutch, you need to buy a whole transmission. So I priced this out. I can't remember what retail is. My price was under $15,000. I think retail is 15 or 17 for the whole setup. So once you figure that in, buying the car made sense because we sold the engine. We're going to sell the seats, the Recaro seats, which are worth a lot, and I am keeping the body to build a race car. We add all that together, plus all the minor stuff, I think we're going to wind up in good shape. Now, it was a little damaged. I'll show you guys that. Underneath, the pan was a little bit damaged. What happened here is the trans cross member broke in the wreck. I don't believe this got messed up in the wreck, but it was sitting on the ground, and when they load the car up with the forklift, my guess is that got messed up. Now, I didn't buy this thing to throw it in a car. That's obviously not good news, but I don't think it's that bad of news because this has to come apart anyway. We're gonna use this for some R&D for transmission parts. Anyway, that's about it for this. We'll go ahead, we're gonna get all this stuff cleaned up, get the car cleaned up. I'm not sure exactly how quickly this project's gonna get going, but we'll keep you up to date on the transmission deal. That's what this is all about, getting this transmission, getting a clutch done. We're gonna have a spare clutch, maybe have a core program for those of you guys that wanna do a clutch and you don't want your car down for 4 to 6, 8, 10 weeks while you're waiting on your clutch to be built. All kinds of good things coming with this. All right, let's go over buying a car at Copart. In fact, I bought 2 vehicles. We'll talk about the second one in just a bit, but I want to talk about how I wound up buying a car at Copart in my experience. So, you know, I see online people doing it, YouTube videos. So I've been browsing the Copart site for like a couple years probably. And then I finally signed up for it, and there's a membership fee. But I went to go bid on a couple local auctions, and you have to have a special license and all that. So I kind of forgot about it for a bit. Of course, I'm searching for GT500s, and one pops up in Georgia, and I'm able to bid on that because you don't need a license. So I go ahead and put it on my watch list, which means it's there, but it's not up for auction just yet. And, you know, I kind of forgot about it. So fast forward, and I get an email from Copart that something on my watch list is up for auction, and it's the GT500. So I go look at it. You know, obviously it would be best to go inspect these vehicles. I'm sure I could have found somebody local to go look at it for me, but I didn't really think I was gonna wind up buying this vehicle still at this point. So I looked it over. I kind of came up with a number in my head, like a very low number that I was like, well, I'm not even gonna get it. So I said, I'll pay, you know, 30 grand for it. And it had a very serious front end collision like you saw. I don't know the, you know, condition of the engine at this point. So I said, whatever, I'll give it a shot. So I set my max bid at 25 grand. And the auction was like the next day. So right before the auction was live, we kind of forgot about it. We were at the shop putting the cam in our Godzilla F250, and I was like, wait a second, the Copart auction is in like 10 minutes. So we put it up on the shop TV, and we didn't get any audio, I didn't video it, but we were able to capture that with the security camera. And I'll tell you what, it was very exciting. So basically the way it works is this, as you're doing the auction, you got the picture of the vehicle, and it's like a video game, and there's this great music and a time clock counting down, and I'm watching it, waiting for the GT500 to come up, and you know what's coming up, and then boom, an F100 pops up. And you know, everybody wants an F100, I think, that likes Fords. So I looked at it real quick. I don't know anything about it. I didn't look at it ahead of time. It just popped up. So I clicked bid a couple times, and there was a reserve on it, no reserve met. So we'll get back to that in a bit. So you know, now the GT500 comes up, and at this point I had decided I wasn't gonna go higher than like 25 or 30 grand. So, you know, I'm watching the bids go, and a bunch of people are bidding on it, and as it's getting up to that number, it's just us and a guy in another country. I can't remember what it was. So we keep going back and forth, and I decide, well, I'm gonna go a little bit higher because, you know, I wanna win it, and I'm kind of caught up in this whole deal. So keep going, and as you can see from the video, a few times we thought we won it because the other guy was letting the timer go all the way down to like 0 seconds, and then he would bid. So then I started doing that to him, started going back and forth, and then finally we won. So what does it cost to actually get the vehicle? My winning bid was $37,750, but I got a bill, I don't have the actual bill in front of me, from Copart for over $45,000, and the big number on that was the buyer's fee. It was over $5,000. Now, they do that to basically account for, they'll take any kind of payment. They'll even take a credit card on something like this. So if you pay cash, which I did, they give you, you know, I think it was like a 4 or 5% discount. So my total for paying cash was $43,467.11, which the buyer's fee is still $2,600, $2,642.50. I had to pay $129 just because I was bidding on a computer instead of being there in person. That's the actual bid fee. There's a gate fee, which is the fee to get in the gate to get the vehicle. Sales tax was $2,963.73. And I was a day late picking it up, $50 and all that. So we'll go over the other vehicle because I got an email the day after I got this bill saying, congratulations, you won. And I'm like, I already know I won. Well, I clicked on it and it was that F100. So evidently, when you're doing bids on Copart, even if you don't meet the reserve at the end of the auction, they could choose to accept your bid, and they did. So what did I pay for that? My winning bid was $900, $275 buyer fee, $49 virtual bid fee. So it's cheaper to bid virtually on an F100 than it is on a GT500. That even makes less sense. Obviously, this is all based on the sale price of the vehicle, which to me is kind of unfair because you're bidding, it doesn't really matter at that point. But anyway, let's keep going. Sales tax, $89. So the total was $1,369, which, you know, based on looking over that vehicle, I think I got a pretty good deal on that. I could probably flip it, but we're gonna keep that and probably put a Godzilla engine in that. Right now it's just sitting. We just put some on it to get it rolling. So how was my buying experience at Copart? What do you do now? I have 2 vehicles up in Georgia, and I didn't expect to win either one of them. So, I mean, the first day, I was like, all right, I won the GT500. I guess I'm gonna hop in my Godzilla truck with my trailer and go pick it up. But then the next day, they told me I won a second vehicle. So now I don't have anything that could tow 2 vehicles. So I start thinking about it, thinking about shipping it. Well, luckily, our buddy Carlos Vera has a business doing that sort of stuff, transporting vehicles, and he happened to have a truck in North Carolina on its way back. So those guys were nice enough to be able to pick that up. So I got a little bit of a deal on this, but so I'm not going to tell you that number, but I could tell you that through the Copart site, I could have scheduled the GT500 to be delivered here for $900, the one vehicle. And then obviously the F100, I didn't look at that one, but I don't know if it's the same or based on the price. Probably not. It's probably just based on the vehicle and the size. So probably would have been $1,800 to get both of those vehicles here on top of that. Of course, if you're bidding in person, you can pick it up or you can go pick it up yourself. So now, was it worth it? Well, I can tell you this. We've gotten into the vehicle somewhat and the engine is not 100%. And that was a big letdown. We are going to fix it. There was just a small amount of damage on the crankshaft in the front. It may not need anything newer than a crank pulley, but pulling it out, the crank pulley was just slightly twisted. So it's not 100% for sure. The seats are in good shape, the Recaro seats. A lot of the underside of the vehicle, I feel like it may have even went airborne. Both rear, shocks or mounts are broken. So, this thing took a heavy hit. So, if I was buying this vehicle to rebuild it and put it on the road, which other people are doing, there's a YouTube build going on by another channel like that, I would be upset, and this would be a total disaster. But I still believe that we can get enough out of the engine, the seats, and all the other miscellaneous parts to have the shell and the transmission left over, which is why I bought this vehicle. I needed a spare clutch for my GT500, spare transmission. That's $15,000 alone. Seats are worth $5,000. I'm sure even if I give the engine away for a little bit cheaper because of the crank pulley, another $20,000, $25,000. And then I'm going to use this car to build a race car. That's right. First, maybe, real 2020 GT500 race car is going to be built out of this shell. And it's probably going to take about a year plus for that to develop. All right, now that we got most of the car disassembled, we're going to go through each and every part and show you all of that, what kind of shape it's in, and what we're going to do with it. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, share it with your friends, and we'll see you on the next one.